What's up YouTube, this is Santos representing Neo Overlay Network, and I'm here to show you guys a Machina Infinitrack Train M.I.T deck profile. This deck came to my way when I was building Machina in itself. I felt it was lackluster and needed a little bit more, and then when I picked up Infinity Chasers, I got a lot of Infinitrack stuff, and then I seen people running M.I.T around, and this is Neo Overlays Network's take on M.I.T. And so, enough talking, let's get started. So for the first monsters, I'm going to go over the M side. So Machina, we run 3 Machina Metal Cruncher, because showing you guys this guy first, because he pretty much starts for your Machina monster archetype, he pretty much starts everything. So you can normal summon him without tributing if you control no face-up cards on the field. So he has that, and but you gotta have his attack. But as you like his effect of you could reveal 3 Earth Machine monsters from your deck. Any could be the same card, or it could be different, whatever you feel like. But your opponent, it lets you reveal those 3, and your opponent randomly chooses one for you to add in your hand. So he has that, and he's a level 9. So this is a going second deck. It's a 50 card deck and OTK potential, and he's a level 9, so it's easy to go calamities when you go first. The next Machina monster I run is 2 Machina Fortress, because 3 is bricky sometimes, but 2 is fine because he's not a hard once per turn, and then seeing multiples does suck. But you could special summon him by discarding other machines that equal to the levels of 8 or more. So if you have a level 10, you could just discard 1 to special summon him. But you have Infinitrack monsters that are 4 or level 5, so you need to discard at least 2 to make it equal to 8. So you could special summon this guy out. And then when he's destroyed by battle or card effects, he could destroy 1 card your opponent controls. And if he's targeted by a card effect, before it resolves, you could discard one card your opponent controls. So, I mean, not controls, but in their hand. So he has that, and it's not a hard one per turn. And you could use him to, when you discard him, when he's in your hand, you could discard him and another machine to special summon himself, because at that point he's in your graveyard when he's discarded, and you could special summon him from your hand or graveyard. So he's pretty good in that respect. And the next Machina monster that we run is 2 Machina Citadel. His effects that he cannot be normal summoners or set. He must be special summoned by a card effect. And his first effect is that a quick effect. You could target one of your machine monsters and destroy it. And you could destroy as many monsters your opponent controls equal to the original attack, or equal to or less than. So he has that Regeki effect, and when he's in the graveyard, you could, and when your machine monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, you could special summon him. And yeah, he has that recursion when he's in the graveyard, and he's good at 2, because when people run, DD Crow or Call by the Grave and banish him, kind of sucks when you just run 1, and 2 is just fine because you could just discard him when you don't need him. And that's for the last Machina monsters. Next, moving on to the Infinitrack engine, we run 3 Infinitrack Harvester. He's the lowest level one, but he's pretty good because he lets you, when he's normal or special summon, you could it lets you search Infinitrack monster and add it to your hand. And his effect is that his face-up effect is that you could target one of your monsters, and this card and the other monster become the combined level. So this deck, Machina M.I.T, is really XYZ centric. So you have a lot of XYZs, and you'll see my extra deck. And he's just good because he lets you search your key piece, which is your next Infinitrack monster, which is Infinitrack Heavy Dozer, a Brutal Dozer. His effect is that you could special summon him by triggering an Earth Machine, and then he lets you, when he's special summoned from the hand, he lets you search or special summon another Infinitrack monster in defense position, but negates the effect. But he locks you to special summon Earth Machines only. He's good to extend, but going first it sucks. This deck is a going second deck, a 50 card deck too, and you don't try to do that going first. You try to build somewhat of a board, but he's just good to extend a little further when you try to do his effect pretty much at the end, if pretty much last resort. But If you need to go use his effect, it's still good. So 3 is fine. You use his effect to search primarily your Infinitrack Trencher, because his effect is that was you could tribute an Earth Machine to special summon him, and when he's in the graveyard, you could banish him to special summon an Infinitrack monster, any level 5 or lower Infinitrack monster, and yeah, and their effects are not negated, so you can still use their effects. So that's pretty good, and it lets you send a little bit further. And 2 is fine because you don't want see multiples. 3 is cloggy, and yeah. And for the last Infinitrack that monster that I decided to add in this deck is the Infinitrack Anchor Drill, because he's really good. Because when he's normal or special summon, you could special summon an Earth Machine monster from your hand, and that doesn't matter what level it is. You just special summon him, and when he's on the field, you can target another monster, and they become him, and then the other monster become the combined level. So this, like I said, this deck is an XYZ centric deck, and he's good because most of the Infinitracks are level 5. So him and a level 5 become a 9, and that's the way you bring out calamities. Him and Machina Fortress, he's at level 7, so you have ways to bring out a level 11, which I will get into from the extra deck. So you just have ways to get into your XC plays, and he's just pretty good. And that's for the Infinitrack engine. Now for the train engine, I run 2 Flying Pegasus, because he's okay. He's a normal summon, and with this deck I've tried to balance with normal summons and special summons. There's at least, I guess, 10 normal summons and at least 10 ways to special summon, because you have Earth Machines out there. And his effect is that you could special summon when he's normal or special summon. You could special summon a Earth Machine monster from your graveyard, and you could target him. His effect is the face-up effect is that you could target him and another monster you control, and they become the level whatever. So if you choose him, target him, and let's say another Infinitrack monster right here. So he could become. They could both become level 4 or 5 if you want them to. Or in this case, you could just target any monster and they become equal to the level. So he just lets you go to the Xyz plays, and then when you use that effect, you can't attack unless just only with Xyz monsters. So yeah, so it's pretty good in that case. For the next train, I run 2 heavy Fright Train Hurricane, because he's a level 10, and his effect is that when you normal or special summon an Earth Machine monster, you could special summon him any position you want, but just you gotta half his attack. And when he's used for an XYZ material, when you detach it and he's detached for XYZ material, you could target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. So he has those 2 versatilities, and he's an Earth Machine level 10, so that's good. 3 is breaky, I feel. 2 is just fine because I don't want to see multiples. If you open up 2 of him and then you open up 1 of him, it pretty much ends your turn because they're all bricks. But I've seen when you run 2 of each, it's hard to open up multiples, and if you do run, you probably open up 1 and 1. So if that in that sense is good. So you run 2 Super Express Bullet Train, because his effect is that you could special summon him if you control Earth Machines, a minimum of 1, and when he's sent to the graveyard that turn, and during the end phase, you could target 1 Earth Machine and add it to your hand. And if you want him to attack, the only way you could attack is that by sending 2 face-up cards you control, or 2 cards that you control, to the graveyard. So that's the only way he could attack. But he's just here for the rank 10 train engine, so 2 is fine. And for the last machine that are 1-0s, I run 1 BES a blaster cannon core. He's just here because he's a level 9 extender. All he needs to do, or you need to do to special summon him, is if your opponent controls more monsters than you. So let's say your opponent has 3 monsters, so you normal summon 1, you still could special summon him because your opponent controls more monsters. And he's only here because he's a level 9 machine, and he's just a level 9 extender that I think is just easy to, go calamities or another Earth XYZ monster that I have in this deck, or an extra deck that you could just bring out. So he's just good in that regards. His other effect is that he gains 3 counters when he's special summon, and each time he attacks, you gotta remove a counter, and when he has no counters, he gets destroyed. So, but you just pretty much want him to, you know, extend. So it's really good. The last one machine, I run one Knight, Express Knight. So he's just here because when he's you can normal summon him without tribute, but his attack is 0. So he's just good to normal summon when you have nothing. But usually in this deck, I feel like it's 8 out of 10 times you won't brick. So that's good. For now, for the next engine is 2 Gamma Seals and 1 Jizukiryu, because I don't want to run 3, because if you open up with 2, you can't resolve 2, or like you can only resolve 1 in your hand. So that's why if you open up with 2, like with him and him, you know, you could just give your opponent the Gamma Seal and you just special summon the Jizukiryu. So pretty much OTK potential deck. So that's what I try to bring out. And then for the hand traps, because it's going second, I run 3 Ash Blossoms because it's pretty much standard. And I run 3 Side Frame Gamma to play against the Ash. So that's pretty much why I run these, because sometimes, you know, Ash is really it's a heavy hitter. She kills pretty much any deck, but it's fine. And Side Frame Gamma is good just to play against Ash sometimes, depending on the matchup and depending on what you need. And now for the one of monsters is, you know, Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon. Self-explanatory. Now for the spells. Going off with the Machina spells, I run the only Machina spell is Machina Redeployment. When you activate it, it has 2 effects, but you usually use the first effect. The second effect is that when you discard a Machina monster, you could add Machina cards, but the only cards you're pretty much going to add is the monsters anyway, so you could just discard any, the first effect is just discard a card to add 2 Machina monsters, and that's what I primarily use it for, just to add the Machina monsters. It's good to search, and you could discard whatever you need. Sometimes Machina Citadel, when you do open up with him, you could just discard him. Now for the Infinitrack spells, I run 3 Heavy Forward, because when it's activated, you could add 1 Infinitrack monster to your hand, and it lets you get whatever you need. And its second 2 effects is that once per turn, you could change the position of your XYZ Earth Machine monsters, or you could attach this card to it as material. So I'll explain a little bit later when I bring out one of the XYZ Earth monster. There's a way to use, it gets 3 pops instead of 2 that turn, so it's pretty good. And for the train side spells, you run 3 Switchyard, Revolving Switchyard. It's a field spell which lets you, first effect you don't really use it. It's a first effect is when it what's called Earth Machine level 10 monster. It's normal or special summon to your field. It lets you special summon a level 4 machine from your deck, but you can't attack that turn. So going at first, it's alright, but going second, like I said, this is going second deck mostly. You don't use that effect. You use the second effect is that you could send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to search an Earth Machine, and that's what you usually use it the most for. And it's alright, just to discard whatever you don't need or you want in the graveyard, so it's fine. And now for the one of spells, I run 1 Terraforming, because for the field spell, 1 Red Eyes Fusion, and the 1 Foolish Burial to send Machina Fortress or Citadel to the graveyard mostly, or whatever you really need, because there's certain cards that let you special summon, like Infinitrack Trencher to let you special summon an Infinitrack from your graveyard. And it's pretty much it. That's a 50 cards going second build. So now for the extra deck. Starting with the Side Frame, just pretty much because you do run Side Frame Gamma and the other guy drivers, so why not bring him out? Because it's situational to bring him out, but you really do see times when you need him. And 1 Dragoon, obviously. 1 Verde Anaconda, because you want to go when you go first. Like I said, it's going second build, or it's just it's going second deck. You don't want. If you're forced to go first or miss the die roll, you have something to play during your second turn, or going. And for the next link monster I run is the double-headed Anger Knuckle, because when he's link summoned, or he can't be used for a link material. That's a little sad part about him, but the other part that makes him okay is that during the main phase, you could send one monster you control to the graveyard, or send one monster from your hand to the graveyard to special summon an Earth level 10 machine from your graveyard. And his other effect is when he's in the graveyard, you could special summon him by sending one card from your field to the graveyard, or sending one card from your hand to the graveyard. So he's just good to, like, he keep on coming back when he's in the graveyard or when he's destroyed. So it's alright for just a one of, because you are restricted sometimes to only playing Earth machines. So he's just there to extend a little bit further. And for the next link monster, and I guess the last one, is Platinum Gadget. Platinum Gadget here because you just need 2 Earth machines, and his effect is that you could special summon one machine from your hand and to one of the zones he points to. So it just lets you extend a little bit further, and that's pretty much it. And he can't be used for link materials, so you probably use one of your like River Stormer. His effect is that you could target one of your machine link monsters and destroy it to special summon him from the graveyard. That's his first effect. And his other effect is that you could detach a material to search an Earth machine. So you have a lot of level 5 Infinitrack monsters, so he's pretty easy to come out, and then you just search whatever you need, which makes it good searcher, so it's fine. And for the other machine rank 5 engine I run is the one Cyber Dragon Nova and one Infinity. They're here because it's mostly setup, but there are ways when you're not restricted and you have 2 level 5 monsters you could go into, or 2 level 5 machine monsters you could just go into Cyber Dragon Nova and to Infinity. So it's mostly setup, but it is situational, where because Cyber Dragon Infinity can just negate, and then you could target one of attack position monster and attach it to material. So sometimes it gives away gets away problems on the board. So it's pretty good. That's why it's situational. And now for the rank 7s, I run the one number 11 Big Eye, because you do have Machina Fortress. He's a level 7, and then I was saying Infinitrack a Harvester plus one of the level 5 Infinitracks. They both become the combined level. So there's ways to bring out level 7s, 9s, 11s, and 12s in this deck, and which makes it pretty interesting, to say the least. So one is fine. And then for the rank 9 engines, first off is the Earth Slicer. His effect is that you can detach up to as much material to destroy as much cards on the field. So like I was saying, heavy forward, one of the spells, you could use it to reattach it, and so when he comes out with 2 materials, and heavy forward will make it 3, and so he could destroy up to 3 cards. And it has the same thing as Heavy Stormer, which is that when it's in the graveyard, you could destroy one link machine monster to special summon in defense mode, but you just use his first effect, and it's just a rank 9 machine monster that you can bring out, and his attack is 3100, so he's pretty beefy, which makes it alright. And so for the next rank 9, I run a True King of All Calamities. If you guys know, I guess I don't want to explain too much because I feel like everybody should know. And it's just easy when I go first, when I'm forced to go first, when I miss the die roll, or like lose rock paper scissors. He's just, when you go first, you want to bring out him, or Dragoon for your first turn, because this is mostly a going second OTK deck. So, and if you're forced to go first, I made the extra deck so you can have something of a board after your first turn. And so now for the rank 10s, I run one Gustav, because you do have a lot of level 10s, and there are ways to make certain monsters into level 10s. And his effect is that you can detach a material to do inflict damage of 2000. Then you will pretty much overlay to bring out your super Dreadnought, Rail Cannon, Judgment, Lieben. I wanted to highlight this deck because this guy, if you guys don't know, he's getting a reprint in the Legendary Duelist set, and I just wanted to show you guys a deck that pretty much spams them out pretty quick, going second, OTK, and it's fun. His effect is that you could exceed summon him by overlaying, or by using a level 10 Earth Machine, so you use him and attach him. And his effect is that you could detach a material and it gains 2000 attack, and it can attack all monsters up to the amount of material. So he has, like right now, if he has one, he could attack one more time because that's his effect. He could attack up to 1 plus the material it has. So it could attack twice if it had one material. So it's really good, and he's getting a reprint, which is awesome. Now for the other rank engines, or the rank 11 engine, I run one number 84 Pain Gainer because there are ways to bring out rank 2 level 11 monsters. His effects are right, like they're all situational. So his effect is that when he's summoned, when your opponent activates spell cards, he does 600 damage every time they resolve. And his effect is that once per turn you can detach a material, and it destroys as many special summon monsters with its defense. Right now, it's when it comes out with materials or just XC summon, he gains 200 defense for each XC or rank that's on your field. So when he just comes out by himself, he's 11, so his defense is at 2200. And if he's just by himself, his effect is that he just detach to destroy as many special summon monsters with the defense equal to or less than. So when it comes out with just by himself, it's 22. So he could destroy anything your opponent controls that has 2200 to less than his defense. So he's pretty good. If you have more rank monsters, his defense gains more. So it's mostly situational and it's not targeted. So, and as the last rank 12 is number 77. The 7 Sins, because you have a way you could XE summon him by using a level 11 or 10 XE's monster, and XE summon him by just overlaying him. And when you do that, he can't activate his effect. So he's at 4000 beat sticks when you do that, but you have a Infinitrack Harvester, he's at 2, and then you have a lot of level 10. So his effect is that they become the combined levels. So you have ways to bring out level 12s. If I had Zeus, I would have put him in this deck because you could rank him out using his own, or just by having 2 level 12s. And his effect is that you can't use it when he's XC something like that, but his effect is that you could detach 2 materials to banish all special summon monsters your opponent controls, and then attach one to it as material. And if it's destroyed by card effect or by battle, you could detach one of the materials instead. So it's mostly situational. Like I said, all these XC's monsters are situational, but they do have its uses. And that's pretty much it, you guys. This is enough for me. It's a pretty fun deck. I just really wanted to highlight Super Red Knot Dread Cannon Lieben, because he's getting a reprint, and I love reprints. It makes decks more cheaper and fun for everyone, and be able to play those cards. So if you like this deck and you want to pick that guy up, now's the time. Wait in a week because Legendary Duelist is coming out. And this is enough for me. This is Santos representing Neo Overlay Network, signing out.